All right, let's talk about what's actually happening here. When we moved into this space, the existing curtains were fine, but let's be honest, they weren't doing my living room any favors. They were short, a little saggy, and offered pretty much zero insulation, which is not ideal when you live in North Dakota, and the winter tries to sneak in through every crack it can find. So today I'm giving this entire wall of windows a major upgrade. I'm replacing the old curtains with Vivienne panels from Curtarra in the color beige, double pinch pleat, and yes, the triple weave lining that helps keep the cold out. This is one of those upgrades that feels small, but completely transforms how the room looks and feels. Let me show you how it all came together. These curtains, I cannot stand, and they have driven me crazy since we've moved in here. Number one, I just kind of think they're ugly. Number two, they need to move up to about 2 to 3 inches from the ceiling. We have pretty high ceilings as is, and this just doesn't work for me. We need to draw your eye up, and in order to do that, we need to heighten those curtains. So what happened was I had a company reach out to me called Curtarra, and they sent me these beautiful curtains that are going to just make this place look complete, finally. They're actually going to be blackout curtains as well. It's so cold here in North Dakota that sometimes in the winter, the cold air, you can just kind of feel it coming through our windows. So having those new curtains is definitely going to help with any cold air that you may experience here in North Dakota. Obviously, I've done my wall here. We've put in new floors, we painted. And this is the last thing that needs to happen. So I'm gonna get started on that today, but first things first is I need to remove these. I'm gonna have to do a little bit of repair since they drilled right into the molding here. We'll have to fill that in and paint, which it's needed to be done a long time ago. This is just a good reason to get it done. So before we jump straight into installing these curtains, I wanted to slow things down for a minute and actually prepare, which, if you know me, is not usually my style. Normally, I'm a rip open the box and figuring it out as I go kind of girl. But these curtains deserved a little more respect. So I started by laying everything out on the couch, all the hardware, every bracket, screw, anchor, and mystery piece that I knew I'd be digging for later if I didn't get ahead of it. And honestly, seeing everything lined up like this made me feel way more put together than I actually was. Then I pulled out the directions, and this is where things got interesting, because I opened them up expecting a full map, maybe a little hand-holding something that said, here's exactly not how to mess this up, and instead it was basically a polite suggestion. A good luck, you'll figure it out kind of vibe. So after staring at the paper like it was written in another language, I did what any reasonable person would do. I went straight to Curtarra's website and watched their how-to videos. And let me tell you, those were the real MVPs. Clear, simple, and honestly made the whole process feel way less intimidating. You'll see me kind of bouncing between the parts, the instructions, and the video, just making sure I actually understand where everything goes before I start making holes in the wall. Okay, got it. Oh, I don't know if this is a one-person job. Probably not. I want to see where is to hang these. But once everything clicked, the setup started moving pretty smoothly. So with all the pieces accounted for, the plan in my head, and helpful videos playing on loop, we're officially ready to install this rod. That side I don't have a ton of room, so I want to make sure I have enough room for the end cap. Which I think I will. If I just go all the way, I want to put the middle where the middle is. That's going to be the middle. So we're going to put one of these right on the middle. At 5 inches. There. Right here. All right, I think I've done the hardest part, is to put up the beginnings of the brackets. Found the studs, and yes, they're not even, but you won't even really see those. So I wanted to make sure I screwed them into the studs, because how many times have we done curtains into the drywall and eventually they just fall out? So I think that was the hardest part. But that part's done. Let's see if I can actually put this rod together. Okay, now I need to attach. All right, now we're moving into what I would personally call the boss level of this whole project, getting the curtain rod up. And listen, this is where phone a friend would have really come in handy, but stubborn me, nope. I decided to take on this giant rod solo. The thing is long, and it definitely does not care about my wingspan. So instead of trying to hold up the entire length like Hercules, I decided to break the job down. Half up first, and then the other half, and then attach them in the middle. And of course, because my life is a series of DIY puzzles, it took a little bit of problem solving. And by problem solving, I mean standing here, staring at the wall, trying to figure out how to defy gravity with one set of hands. But little victories matter. Got the first portion up, then the second, and finally screwed them together. Honestly, not the most glamorous step, but very satisfying once everything lined up. Is this a two-person job? Absolutely. Did I do it anyway? Also absolutely. And if I can get this thing up by myself, I promise you can too. With the rod installed and the curtains finally up, it's time for my favorite part of any project, the finishing touches. But first things first, the cleanup. I went through and vacuumed up all the dust and little drywall bits that seem to multiply the second you bring a drill into the room. Then I rounded up every tool I somehow managed to scatter across the entire living room. It always looks like I built an addition when really I just hung curtains. And since everything was already pulled away from the wall, I wiped down the windows too. Fresh curtains on smudgy glass just wasn't gonna happen. Then I added the wand. And you guys, these curtains glide like butter. No more tugging, no more fighting with the rod, just smooth, quiet, satisfying movement. Once everything was clean, I slid all the furniture back, fluffed the pillows, and stepped back to finally see the whole room together. And because the transformation still shocks me, here's a quick look at the before versus now. Wild what the right curtains can do for a space. Thanks for hanging out with me today for this real-life home edition project of It's About Flippin' Time. I love sharing these little upgrades with you, and I'm so glad you came along for the ride. Until next time, see you in the next flip.